right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down Bellator 287. It's late at night. It's been a long day, been a long week, so this is going to be a super quick breakdown. I'm not interested in being here for an hour. There's no way that's happening right now. So we're going to be quick. Not going to waste anyone's time. There's a lot of setup fights here, so there's really no point in really going into this. I've got a bunch of bets. I'll feed them out real quick once we get to each spot. This card is on Saturday. I believe it's going to be early in the day, whereas we've got UFC a bit later. It's my birthday that night, so hopefully things will go well. Knock on wood. A little birthday present. Let's see what happens. But without further ado, I don't want to talk about it much more. My guy's Chronic Combat here for the bong rips. You know what? You're onto something. Make sure you guys follow Chronic Combat, by the way. They're lit over there. We got TB and Guru constantly killing it on that channel. Make sure you're following them. And then they came here and made sure that I'm having my healthy bong rip. So it's what we got to do. Will help us break down some fights, get the thoughts flowing, right? But I can start talking while I pack a bowl. So for this fight, we've got, let me put on my goddamn glasses. All right, here we've got Oleg Popov versus Denis Stojnic. I can't pronounce that right now. Oleg Popov is 15-1-0. He's 30 years old, 6'1", and I do not have his camp. I did pull up his Instagram when I was originally taping this, so we're going to have to go with Bars of the Northern Fleet. He's in Russia, that much I know. On the other side, I'm going to call him Denis, 15-3-0. He's 42 years old. He's 6 feet tall, training out of, what did I have for him? He doesn't appear to be at this Golden Glory place. He's somewhere in Croatia. I can't place him exactly, but that's what we've got. We don't have any recent tape on Denis. The most recent stuff we've got on him is from like 2015. He was in the UFC in 2009. He lost to Cain Velasquez and Stefan Struve. He's 42 years old. You know, he's got 5 submission wins, 1 sub loss. He's a decent grappler, but his striking is abysmal. He's very small for this weight class. Popov is 1 inch taller. I believe it's going to be more than that, though. He's 12 years younger. He's 30 years old. So his last fight was actually pretty sad. He knocked out the ancient and broken Antonio Silva, which was pretty sad. But hopefully the legend is going to stop fighting soon. He really, really needs to stop fighting. But regardless, back to this fight. Popov is easily the better striker. He uses a lot of feints. He's got 8 knockout wins. Denis has been knocked out 1 time. Popov has really solid wrestling and grappling himself. Look, I think he probably knocks out Stojnic. I think he finishes him. It's unbettable. You got Oleg at minus 650. Come back on Denis is plus 475. Oleg inside the distance is, let's see, minus 285. Yeah, this is very difficult to play. If you wanted to do a chalk parlay, you can add Popov. I chose not to. Honestly, I'm not sure why. I'm fairly confident in Popov winning this fight, but I guess it's because we haven't seen Denis in so long and we haven't seen recent tape that I just can't confidently bet on either side. So we're going to move on. All right. This next one, we've got Sarvadzhon Khamidov versus Jose Maria Tome. Khamidov is 13-0, undefeated as a pro. 5'6", don't have a reach for him. And as for his camp, I've got him at Team Stella. On the other side, we've got Tome. He's 49-0. He's 40 years old. 5'5" with a 65-inch reach, so he's 1 inch shorter. Don't have a reach on Khamidov, like I mentioned. And for his camp, I've got Team Nogueira. It seems like he's in Brazil. So, yeah, this one was a curious one for me. First off, I saw Tome, like on his Tapology. It's like a picture with, I believe, Henry Cejudo. So I'm not sure if they're buddies, if they train together, what the deal is there, if Tome is some sort of coach for him. I sure hope not. 15 submission wins. That's pretty impressive over a long record. Been subbed 5 times himself, though, as Tome. 16 knockout wins, only 2 knockout losses of his own. He is a really weird fighter, like an incredibly weird fighter. You go look at his fights, like the way he moves, the way he strikes, it's all very funky, very low output. I mean, some things I like in the striking. The jab is kind of good, but overall, like it just doesn't do much. He is good at moving away from shots, so you do have to give him that. Haven't seen his defensive wrestling tested all that much. I believe I remember seeing him taken down, but like I mentioned, 5 submission losses. Khamidov is a very good grappler, extremely good top control. I was really impressed with the way he was on top. He seems to be a decent striker. I think he's got a good jab as well. I do think he's the better striker here. I do think he's the better offensive grappler here. So what I did was, the obvious thing here is a submission, right? Khamidov's got 4 sub wins. Tome's got 5 sub losses. But here's the thing. Tome's, I believe, a BJJ black belt. And I think he's going to have something for him in the grappling for Khamidov. What I think can happen is I think Khamidov can take him down and TKO him with the ground and pound at some point. Tire him out, wear on him, finish him. Played the knockout at plus 600 is what I did. And I played it for 0.2 units to win 1.2. I think it's a decent spot. We don't lose much if he does get that sub. It's just not playable any other way. He's sitting at what now? It's been climbing towards him too. He's sitting at minus 900. Come back on Tomes plus 600. Yeah, it's difficult to do anything with him. So I went with the KO prop for just 0.2 units. And we're going to move right along. Next up, we've got another pretty clear setup fight. I don't know if this one's going to be as easy as the others. Stephen Hill versus Andrea Fusi. Hill is 5-0, undefeated as a pro. He's 29 years old, training out of Sparta MMA. Fusi on the other side, he is 8-6-0, 30 years old. He's 1 year older, 5'11". I believe Stephen Hill is taller than that. And Fusi is training out of SBG Ireland. I wasn't impressed with either of these guys, but Fusi's pretty terrible. He's got really loopy striking, runs face first into strikes, dips his head down. It's really strange. Got taken down in his last fight. He got taken down in the Pugliagi fight. 2 submission wins, 2 sub losses. He's very flat-footed, been knocked out once, 3 knockout wins of his own. The reason I said I think this will be closer than the others is just because I don't think Hill is all that good either. He hasn't necessarily fought anyone good. The competition is actually pretty abysmal is what I wrote in my notes. He's a solid wrestler himself, good top control, good entries, nice jab. I like the combinations, low output though. I think he runs through Fusi realistically. I'm not sold on either guy. Hill appears not playable to me, minus 265 inside the distance, and I can't tell you what method it would be if it was inside the distance. So the pick is Hill. Another clear setup fight, but we're not going to waste any more time on that one. And speaking of setup fights, we've got Luke Trainer versus Lucas Alsina. The battle of the Lukes. Is it the K or the C? We're going to find out. Luke Trainer's 5-1-0. He's 26 years old, 6'6" with an 81-inch reach. And I've got him training out of Great Britain top team. On the other side, we've got Lucas Alsina. Alsina's 11-3-0. He's 36 years old, 6'3". So he's 10 years older. He's 3 inches shorter. Don't have a reach for him. He's training out of Picante Fight Club as far as I could tell. So Trainer's coming off a pretty disappointing loss to someone who we're actually going to see soon on this card, Biyong. You know, Biyong was a good fight for him. They were the same size. He finally wasn't going to tower over his opponent, and he ended up losing that fight, got out grappled a bit. I think it was good for him. I think it was good for his development. Trainer is a beast. You see it on him. You see the technique. You see the potential. He's got a good jab, good 1-2, good striking, nice combinations. Output is decent. A bit of a tall man's defense that hurt him in his last fight. Wrestling is very solid. His defensive grappling, he got taken down in the Biyong fight a few times with trips and did give up control time. But he's difficult to take down. 2 submission wins himself. He's got a nasty back take. What he did to Biyong in round 1, taking his back, was disgusting. All right. And then on the other side, Alsina, you know, he's actually a pretty good striker. He's a K1 rules world champion. 2 out of 3 of his losses are to really good guys. In 2021, he lost to Smirnov, who's currently 11-2-0. In 2019, he lost to Anatoly Malakhin. If you guys know who that is, he's in 1FC. He's currently 11-0 himself. So I actually think that, I apologize, but I actually think that this is going to be probably one of the closer setup fights, right? They're just not doing Trainer any any favors. They keep giving him these tough matchups. But at the end of the day, Alsina is live in the striking, I believe, but his output's a little low. I do like the straight strikes. I like the speed. Also a bit of a tall man's defense, but it's his takedown defense that I think is going to get him done here. He almost got taken down by Wilson Gonzales, who's an absolute cannon, is tiny, but almost doesn't count. He did get taken down by Smirnov. That's when he got finished via ground and pound. I think Luke Trainer takes him down. I think Luke Trainer finishes him on the ground. Luke Trainer is the first leg of my chalk parlay at minus 700. So you already know he's probably going to be the one to lose. I don't think he's playable any other way. I mean, that's not really even the smart way to play it either. Trainer inside the distance is minus 250. I don't think there's anything there. So, yeah, Trainer's the side, and we're going to move on, not waste any more time. All right. Next up, we've got Nicolo Solli versus Bourama Camara. Solli's 3-1-0. He's 25 years old, 6'2" with a 73-inch reach, and he does train out of SBG Ireland. On the other side, you got Bourama Camara. He's 5'1-0, 6'4", so he's 2 inches taller, 79-inch reach. He's got a 6-inch reach advantage, and I have him training out of Free Fight Academy. So neither guy's at the best gym. Nicolo Solli is clearly at the more well-known gym, probably has the better partners. So both of these guys are actually very similar in my opinion. Both have good striking. Both have straight striking. For the most part, it's Camara who seems a little bit more loopy for me, and he does start slow, but once he lets it rip, he lets it rip, and he looks good. Tall man's defense on him for sure, but once he starts to warm up, he starts to move out of the way out of shots better. Takedown defense doesn't look great. The one time he lost to Wissame Akhmouche, the guy got him down and controlled him for the better part of round 1. Got taken down late in round 2, but scrambled out. And in round 3, he did fight it off pretty well. I think that Solli is just as good of a striker as Camara, and I also think that Solli can out-grapple him. I think that Solli is the better wrestler. He got taken down by Pelé pretty easily, but he got right back up. And he's got good hips. He scrambles well. He's shown that. He's a dog. Cue the Yoel Romero barking video. So I actually liked Nicolo Solli here, so I played him as an underdog. I played him at plus 104 for 1 unit. He's currently sitting at, let's see, minus 115. So he's actually the favorite now. Minus 104 on FanDuel. I think that's playable still. I think Nicolo Solli wins this fight. I think it's close. But as long as he grapples, I think he'll look like the favorite. So we're going to move on to the next one. All right. Next up, we've got Simon Biyong versus Dragos Zubco. Biyong's 8-2-0. He's 31 years old, 6'6" with a 74-inch reach. And I've got him training out of, we're going with UFD. On the other side, we've got Dragos Zubco, 3-1-0. Very little information on the fella. And he's training out of Combat Team. I do believe I pulled stuff out for his size. So it appears that Biyong is 4 inches taller, although I think Zubco being 6'2" is a lie. So I think it might be more. 1.5-inch reach advantage for Biyong as well. And look, Biyong's the guy who upset Trainer in his last fight. And I think that Bellator, every now and then they try to set up one of their prospects and they get an accidental prospect who beats the original prospect. And that's what we've got here with Biyong. I think they realize, and now they're going to try to build him up a bit. So I think this is a pretty clear build-up fight. Zubco hasn't fought since 2019, seems to have a kickboxing background, but his last fight was against this Jurgis fella. Jurgis was 0-1-0 at the time, never fought again. So he's fought absolute cans, fought no one good. Doesn't look like a good striker, absolutely sloppy. He's good in the pocket, but that's about it. Drops big bombs, low output. It's very hittable himself, been knocked out once in his 4 fights. I do like Biyong. I think Biyong absolutely steamrolls him. He's a much better striker, way better output. He's a much better grappler, in my opinion, as well. As long as he doesn't get knocked out or caught with something, I do think it's Biyong all day. Hard to have much confidence considering Zubco's been out since 2019, but Biyong is the pick, and we're going to keep moving on. Next up, we've got Yves Landu versus Walter Cogliandro. Landu's 17-9-0. He's 36 years old, 5'8" with a 73-inch reach. And for him, I've got him. Yeah, we're going with Tapology Snake Team, although I don't know about that one. Walter here is 11-3-1. He's 30 years old, so he's 6 years younger here. He is 5'10". He's 2 inches taller, and I've got him training out of SBG Ireland. Look, I don't really like this fight from a betting perspective. Landu switched southpaw stance against orthodox on the other side for Walter. Walter hasn't fought the best competition. The guy he went to a split with in 2022, Sten Sarame, he's now 5-4-0, and like I'm not even convinced that Walter won that fight. He backs up quite a bit. Takedown defense isn't good. His striking, he's super hittable in my opinion. He in round 3 of that Sarame fight, he was literally just letting his opponent get it, like just rock him. His own striking's decent, honestly. The jab's okay. He looks pretty good in the pocket. I like the head kick, the 1-2, the combos, but he's not really throwing them too much. He's throwing one at a time very often. Landu's just been more battle tested. Good 1-2, nice combinations. It goes to the body pretty well. That's what he got to finish with in his last fight, a nice body kick. He's pretty hittable in his own right, but he's only been knocked out once as well. Double leg is actually pretty good. I think he's got a low-key wrestling advantage here. So I do think Landu should win this fight. He's a better wrestler. I think he should be able to outstrike Walter. But do I have any interest in playing this? No, I have absolutely zero interest in playing this fight. It's a close one. The line sucks. It's minus 180 Landu, plus 155 Walter. No interest in this one. We're going to move on. Landu is the side, in my opinion, though. All right, so next up, we've got Thibault Gouti versus Alfie Davis. Gouti is 16-5-0. He's 35 years old, 5'10" with a 72.5-inch reach. And I've got him training somewhere in France. On the other side, Davis is 14-4-1. He's 30 years old, 5 years younger. He's 5'11", so he's 1 inch taller. He's got a 70-inch reach, so he's got a 2.5-inch reach disadvantage. And I do have him training out of London Shoot Fighters. So I went into this fight, and what I wanted to play was Alfie Davis. He was an underdog. I remembered his last fight where he got a draw. You know, it wasn't the best performance, but I did remember the guy. I didn't remember Gouti as much. I knew he was a UFC vet. I know that he lost 5 of his 6 UFC fights. He lost to Timur Pakalan, I believe it was, in 2016. OAM in 2016. Chad Laprise in 2016. Sage Northcutt in 2018, and Nasrat Haqparast in 2018. But he looked much better in his last fight. I'm pretty high on Lewis Long, so I thought that it was a pretty good look the way he beat him there. Looked pretty good with the striking. I actually really liked that jab. I liked the combinations. 6 knockout wins, been knocked out once himself. He's got 6 submission wins, 2 sub losses as well. Not much in terms of the grappling from what I have seen. And both of these guys are primarily strikers. Davis, in his own right, a pretty good striker. He does like those kicks more than he does the hands. The output's a bit low, which I do not love. He tends to give away minutes that way. I do think my lean was Davis. I think my lean now is Gouti, unless Davis, who I think has a slight wrestling edge, mixes that in. But it's not like really something he does either. So what I did was I played Fight Goes the Distance. It was minus 160. I played it for 1 unit. I believe it's still there. No, it's minus 175 now. It's getting unplayable. I just feel like we're going to go to the distance. I don't see either guy finishing each other. Can it happen? Of course. It's lightweight. It's Bellator. Yeah, MMA. Finishes happen. I think we go the distance, though, more often than not. Minus 160, 1 unit. I'm in. All right. So next up, we've got Costello Van Steenis versus Camil Oniszczuk. Costello is 13-2-0. He's 30 years old, 6'1", and I have him training under Musasi. On the other side, Camil is 9-1-0. He's 26 years old, 6'3", so he's actually 2 inches taller, and he trains out of Ankos MMA. So this one's pretty straightforward for me. I actually think that Camil is pretty live in the striking. If Van Steenis doesn't decide to grapple fairly early, I think this is going to be a close fight and maybe not the best fight for Van Steenis. That said, I do expect him to grapple. He has shown an ability to grapple. So I played him by decision at plus 250 for a half unit. I think Kamil is actually pretty good, and I do expect him to stick around. And I will note that he does have good takedown defense. He, in pretty much all of his fights, he's shown pretty good takedown defense, almost never gets taken down. He got taken down in round 3 of the Verzbikas fight. He did give up control, and he had his back taken. But for the most part, he's shown good takedown defense. But Steenis has shown good wrestling. He's got 5 submission wins. And I think he's got the better striking ever so slightly, but it's going to be close. Kamil does have the better output. So the side for me is Steenis. I played him for a half unit at plus 250 by decision. It's going to be close, though. I personally wouldn't parlay him. All right, moving on. We've got Davy Galone versus Daniele Scatizzi. So real quick, I wanted to... Okay. Why did I play... I might look at the over 2.5 in this one. So we've got Davy Galone. He's 21, 7-2, 33 years old. He's 5'8" with a 68.5-inch reach. And I've got him training out of Adrenaline Fight Team. Scatizzi on the other side is 11, 6-0. He's 29 years old, so he's 4 years younger, 5'10", 2 inches taller, with a 69.5-inch reach. He's got a 1-inch reach advantage. Training out of SBG Ireland. Scatizzi's a dog. I do like him a lot. I went into this fight thinking I'd probably bet him, but I do like Davy Galone to win this fight. I think he's the better guy all around. I like his jab. I like his striking. I like the combination. 6 knockout wins. Never been knocked out himself. Scatizzi's just a little bit more loopy. I think himself, he's a great striker. He's got nice uppercuts. He's very creative sometimes, but those loops, I think he is going to get hit quite a bit. I think Galone's going to be the guy landing first and landing more often. His takedown defense looked very good in that Brander fight, but Brander's not that great. He's got nice trips, a nice whizzer kick he's done in multiple fights, and he's strong on top. He's got 7 submission wins, 2 submission losses. On the other side, Scatizzi, like I mentioned with the striking, I don't love it. And the grappling, he got taken down a ton by Tokov, but Tokov's a good wrestler, and he did scramble really well. He made it hard to hold him down. I like Galone here. I think Galone should win. But I think Scatizzi's live. He does have that output edge. I do think he's going to be the one moving forward for the most part. It's pretty tempted by that plus 300 decision for Scatizzi, but I'm not going to get there. I lean Galone. I think Galone will probably win this fight. I'm looking at that over 2.5 at minus 120. I do like that. I'm probably going to get there. I'll let you guys know. Make sure you're following me at Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. So next up, we've got Justin Gonzales versus Andrew Fisher. Gonzales is 13-1-0. He's 31 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. And I've got him training out of... One second. Did I update this? All right, yeah. So I've got him training out of Top Notch MMA. Andrew Fisher on the other side, he's 19-8-1, 37 years old. So he's 6 years older, 5'10". He's 1 inch taller. 68.5-inch reach. He's got a, 3.5-inch reach disadvantage. And he actually does train out of TFT MMA. I remember looking that up the last time he fought. So real quick, I wanted to look at the line on that over for this one too. Yeah, that's why I didn't play this one. Okay. So the over 2.5 on this one's minus 240. That's too steep. Look, so I wanted to play Justin Gonzales here. I thought that minus 277 is like playable, but nah, I don't want to do it. I feel like Andrew Fisher's a dog. Andrew Fisher is really well-rounded. He's one of these guys who's just been around the block and is just difficult to handle. He's beaten good guys. He's won as an underdog. He's got good striking, a bit meat and potatoes, but he keeps a nice high guard, keeps himself safe. He's got good wrestling in his own right, but not enough to get Gonzales down, I don't think so. Gonzales has high-level wrestling. Haven't seen his takedown defense tested all that much for Fisher, but it seems pretty good. 9 submission wins, 1 sub loss. On the other side, let's see, for Gonzales, I like the jab. I like the combinations. Nice right hand. Wrestling was good. Like I mentioned, his takedown defense itself is pretty good. And like I mentioned before, younger reach advantage. I just think he's the better all-around fighter right now. But do I want to play him at minus 277 against a live dog and Andrew Fisher? Nah, I don't want to do that. So Galene Gonzales for me, but no play on that one at all. Next up, we've got Saul Rogers versus Tim Wilde. Rogers is 15-4-0. He's 32 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach, training out of SBG Manchester. On the other side, we've got Tim Wilde, 14-4-1, 35 years old. He's 3 years older, 5'11". He's 1 inch taller with a 74-inch reach. So he's got a 3-inch reach advantage, training out of Ultimate Training Center. Yeah, so I think Tim Wilde is low-key also live. He's one of these guys, just like Fisher, who's been around the block, always live, solid striker, a bit meat and potatoes, good jab, output's good, 6 knockout wins. He's pretty hittable, though, been knocked out twice himself. His defensive grappling isn't all that great. Leary got him down catching a kick. Landu got him down catching a kick. Landu got a double leg, too, but couldn't really hold down Wilde. Alfie Davis shot on him, couldn't take him down. He is active off his back when he is taken down. Saul Rogers probably one of the better wrestlers he's fought, and Saul Rogers is all around pretty good. I love the jab. I like his striking in general. I like the way he doubles and triples up on that jab. The wrestling is very, very solid. He takes pretty much everyone down. He got Mads Burnell down. 9 submission wins, 3 submission losses for the guy. I think Rogers should walk here. I mean, I didn't even know this. Apparently, he was supposed to fight in the Ultimate Fighter finals a while ago against Artem Lobov, but visa issues got him out. He did beat Ryan Hall and Billy Q in the house, so I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I think Rogers has Wilde covered everywhere. I played 1 unit on Rogers in my chalk parlay. He's that third and final leg. It's him, Biyong, trainer, -127, 1 unit. And then I was going to play Rogers by decision at -125, but fight goes the distance is -160. So I decided to pay up a little bit more and be covered no matter who wins, as long as we get to those scorecards. So yeah, I think the side is Rogers. I played him in my chalk parlay, and I played the over 2.5, and we're going to move right along. So this is our co-main event of the evening, and it's pretty straightforward, pretty clearly a setup fight for our guy Fabian Edwards, coming off of that knockout over Lyoto Machida. So here we've got Fabian Edwards versus Charlie Ward. Edwards is 10-2-0, younger brother of Leon. I believe he's the younger one. 29 years old, 6'1" with the 79.5-inch reach, training out of Ultimate Training Center. I believe that's what their gym is called. Ward on the other side, he's 10-4-0, 41 years old, so he's 12 years older here, 5'11". He's given up, what is that, 2 inches in height, 73.5-inch reach. He's got a 6-inch reach disadvantage. I mean, other than a knockout, how the hell does Ward win this fight? I don't know. I don't think he does. I wanted to play Edwards by decision or the over, and instead I played Edwards inside the distance at +165 for a half unit. Look, Edwards has been looking better and better. 29 years old. He's young for a light heavyweight. He's good. Middleweight, I apologize. He's a good striker, good output, good grappler. Ward's a decent wrestler himself, but he hasn't fought anyone good in Bellator. I mean, he's got a bunch of Bellator fights, and none of them were against really good competition. Whereas Edwards, he's fighting good guys. He's fought Lyoto Machida. He's fought Van Steenis. He's fought pretty much all the good guys in middleweight. I don't have it in front of me right now, but he's definitely the better competition. Ward, another UFC alum back in 2016. He was 3-1 when he entered the UFC. He left 3-3. He lost to Abdul Razak Al Hassan in under a minute, got knocked out, and then he got slam KO'd in round number 2 by Galore Bafando, who went on to have one more UFC fight, lost it, and then got cut himself. So yeah, I mean, I think that Edwards should roll here. I think that Edwards can pick up a finish. Do I want to really bet more than a half unit? No, that's why I only bet a half unit. Ward been knocked out 3 times, never been submitted. So look, it's live for a finish for Edwards. Keep it small. Ward is tough, and Edwards isn't the most reliable fighter. But I do think he rolls here, and we're going to move on to the main event of the evening. So for this one, we've got Adam Piccolotti versus Mansour Barnow. Piccolotti's 13-4-0. He's 34 years old, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. And I've got him. I don't have the camp. We're going with Raul Castillo Martial Arts. Mansoor on the other side, he's 19-4-0, 30 years old. He's 4 years younger, 6 feet tall. He's 1 inch taller, and I do not have his reach. I believe he's training out of Team Magnum. So honestly, I'm pretty surprised by this line movement. Mansoor opened up at plus I got him at plus 175. Yeah, that's where he opened. That's where I got him. And look, I played him because he's the bigger guy. I played him because I think there's some submission upside. And I thought plus 175 was off. He's a decent striker. But look, now he's minus 150, and I think that's silly. I think Piccolotti was the rightful favorite. I think people are not understanding that Mansoor's takedown defense is actually pretty crap. He's got a nice sweep, and he scrambles well from bottom. But overall, I don't love the takedown defense of Mansoor. Like I said, 12 submission wins, slick transitions, but against who really? You know, he did fight in Road FC, was champion there, not the worst place. Seems very vulnerable to leg kicks. He's great in the clinch, as a tall guy should be. Nice jab, nice knees, nice kicks, and good combinations. Piccolotti's striking seems a bit more limited. His striking defense also isn't the best, but he's definitely the better offensive grappler. Very good top control. 6 submission wins in his own right, only been submitted 1 time. I'm not positive why people think Mansoor should be minus 150 here. I think that's off. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to let the money keep coming in his way. Piccolotti's currently plus 135. I have a unit on Mansoor at plus 175. So I'm going to wait. And then whatever that line ends up being for Adam, I'm going to play that. And I'm going to secure a very small profit, guaranteed. And I'm going to let that go because I don't love Mansoor here. I like him at plus 175. But if I have a way to just grab a little bit of a profit and call it a day there, that's what I'm going to do. So that's probably what's going to happen there. And that's the card, guys. That's it. That's Bellator 287. Thank you for anyone who tuned in to watch this show at 12 a.m. Eastern time. It's almost 1 a.m. I'm going to go take a bong rip, take a shower, and go to bed. So have a good night, guys. Let's kill it this weekend. Good luck. And thank you again for tuning in. Real quick, Papa Chuck, when are we all going to a live UFC event together? Got to figure that out, man. I wish I could go to 281. That's in my backyard. I live over in New York City, but we'll see what happens. They're $1 million tickets. It's a bit rough, but definitely want to make that happen. A lot of guys I want to meet from the community. You guys are all super dope. Thank you guys for tuning in. Haha, Chicago. That's not too bad. Not too far from me, but all right, guys, have a good one and peace out.